All right, so now that we kind of looked at the example of using that, the way you could use the Google Slides DBQ and use Pear Deck as an add-on, now we're gonna look at seeing how we can actually add it on to Google Slides that you have so far, like that you have. So this one is Life in Mixon, Texas. We haven't done anything with this yet. I still have my Pear Deck up here that I've added on. And so right now, I'm gonna go right here. This is a good question. This is kind of our big question that we're thinking about. What are some things that might cause people to migrate? And so I'm gonna go here to add-ons, okay? And so I'm gonna do open Pear Deck add-on. Okay, and so right here, I'm gonna have a text response. Okay, and so I want it to be right here on their student device. Adding a directed question, okay? So then that's gonna be there. Students, write your response. You're gonna see it right here. And then I'm gonna go down a little bit more. And maybe here, this is the Constitution of 1824, and maybe I want them to be able to highlight, there's the 4 different articles here, maybe I want them to highlight which they think is the most difficult article that they may have to follow coming from the US into Texas, or Mexican Texas, and so, or do I think maybe they want to put the one that they agree upon? Maybe they don't agree or they disagree, okay? So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna add that. Shows up here. I'm gonna go down a little bit further.
So that's how you know that Pear Deck.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Pear Deck is in
And
the
it's got
bottom.
that little pair on it, okay.
Yeah, so the pair, you know that the question's added, and then when we start the lesson, we'll look at it in total, see if it's kind of, how it looks all together. And then down here, maybe on this last one. The impresario system, maybe you wanna do, another text response where we say, okay, you're gonna pretend like you're an impresario, and what are the requirements that you're going to have, for people to come in and colonize your colony, okay? So we're gonna update our slide, adding our interactive question, and here it is, okay? So now, I'm gonna start the lesson, and y'all go ahead and join this one too, so that way y'all can play around with it, okay? And then if you have a Google Slides that's already maybe on your computer from one of your classes, that you might be practice on your computer, then maybe seeing if you can add the Pear Deck to yours and kind of seeing if you want to add those questions too. So let's go in and see if we have them. I want to do instructor pace. Remember we talked about student pace or instructor pace? Excuse me. So there's your code, so we'll join. And I just keep the joinpd.com up all the time in case they forget. I don't think they forget, they always say it's join police department. Did anybody say that in your classes? That's what they said. Go ahead, if you, that's how you remember it, and that's great. John, get in. So we have 2 students in, it'll tell you how many, I mean, if somebody's not if somebody's not in, or if somebody's missing, but we wanna make sure that they're in. We do this on the computer. And this way you can keep track over here too, when you have your dashboard. This way. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here, let's go back to the beginning. All right, so here's our presentation, and the code stays up there the whole time for students too, because a lot of them will go, what is it? And then, like, if they can't get in at the beginning, at least they can still join, or if they get, you know, y'all know with technology, they get, something happens and it goes off, or they get locked out, or whatever. So that's kind of handy, so that way you don't have to have it all the time. All right, so here, you can see over here that you have your response, and I can say, okay, what are some things that might cause people to migrate? So I'm gonna hit show responses, I'm gonna wait. Like, why would some people want to move? So that would be one of those questions, and you show response, or you could hide. But, here, we can see the responses of all the different students, and then that leads to some discussion that would be helpful in class.
Now or then?
Like, what do you mean?
You said, why do people migrate now or then?
Well, I would say back then, and then see how it can relate to now. If you wanted to extend it, if you wanna just do one, I would prefer that it be back then, but that it does relate now because people are still coming, right, here, even to Texas. So. All right, so let's go to the next and see where the next one is. So we didn't do one here, but we did do one here, okay? Do we not do one here? No, I did it on the articles, didn't I? There we go. All right, so here, it'll show you down here the responses, and so this is where you can highlight, right? Which response? Like which one for you? Was either something you could not live with, like maybe you wanted to practice your religion instead of just being Catholic, right? Having to come over and be Catholic. If that was an issue for you, maybe that's an issue that's non-negotiable. Or maybe you enjoy the fact that it is a representative of a federal republic and that makes you very happy. So that maybe that's something that you do agree with. Okay, then my last one, the politics in Mexico. So this would be your impresario where you have your response. Okay, so showing you response of, okay, so if you're an impresario, what are the requirements for you as far as letting people come and settle in your colony? Who are you gonna be responsible for? But this is where you could look at, check for understanding if they know what an impresario is. And, just one of those, that if there's someone has something wrong in there, then you can go back over and reteach kind of in that moment, which is helpful. I think some of them though get kind of frustrated because their misspellings are up there and they'll go, oh, I misspelled that. It's like, it's okay, we know what you mean, as long as we know what you mean, I hope we know what you mean. But I know that some of my students have done that. Okay, do you all have any questions? It's pretty simple, and like I said, you just learn more and more about it as you go through it. And then of course, I showed you that website at the beginning, just to kind of show you that there are lots of different things to do, and it based on your subject matter, what you use the most in your class, that you have various ways of delivering instruction and getting those responses and checking for understanding. So right now, I think it would be good if you had an opportunity to look at one of your Google Slides that you've already done, just like this one was one that was already done, and see if you can add on your Pear Deck and kind of put in your questions or your responses that you would like, and see if that works. We'll get close to it.
So just go to add-ons.
Uh-huh.
That's easy, just click on the slide and click the button.
Just depending on what you wanna do. And then you can start your lesson, so it's not like it's real labor intensive, I mean, after you've already got the Google Slides, then you can just add this. And it's not like you're just giving a presentation, I mean, you're getting involvement.
And you only add it on to the slides you want, right?
Yeah,
Not
only to the slides that you want.
Or you can add audio.
You get audio. Which would be helpful, I mean, that would be a good accommodation, especially for a remote learner maybe, if you added audio to kind of instead of just having to go over it, but that would be really good too.
This is really easy.
Well, I think that students enjoy it because it doesn't, it's not like they're just listening to notes or listening to content, but they're actually getting to respond to the content, and I think that it's good for us to be able to, in that moment, have a reteach. Like, we can go over something, if they don't understand it, we can see it right away, or, hey, they got it, we can move on.
And the good thing is that, you know, when you ask the class a question, only the few answer, but everyone gets a chance to answer, so you know who's getting it and who's not.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. Yeah, everybody has if some people don't wanna raise their hand and they wanna talk out in class, it's a great way for them to respond.
Yeah.
And for, to feel like you kinda know that they're involved or at least engaged, and that they know, you know, they kinda get the content, comprehend what we're teaching.
And like those kids that are real shy or quiet, their name's not on there, so they're not gonna
Yeah.
be embarrassed to do it.
Cause nobody knows who that person is, only the people that want everybody to know that that's their answer are the ones that are gonna talk and say it out loud, which we all, you know, we all get that, right? And like I said, you can add it, like I have mine, well, you can see it here. Google Slides. What I like about it too is that it's handy, like when you do load it onto your computer, like when you have it in your system, you know, it's just right here. I mean, you just go right to it, and it's real handy. And like I said, you know, it takes a while. The more that you do it, the better you get at it, and the way you figure out how it works best for you in whatever subject that you're teaching. But it is pretty convenient way to kind of get things going. So here, just to show y'all, well, let me leave here. I wanted to show y'all what I did last time. I'm gonna go to this one. Go back to that cabeza bucket. Hold on a minute. So if I wanna end, I can end it, okay? And so what I did, with my class is I put like, third period, and then it says save and end session. And then it says if I want to share my takeaways, because I do have a Google Classroom too, like you can have a Google Classroom, just for supplemental materials, I can share it to the Google Classroom. And here's my Google Classroom, and I can share it, I can choose the class, and that's the one that I have, Coach Spruill, and I'm gonna choose the action. I'm just gonna, you know, make an announcement that it's there if they wanna look at it, and that's for anybody too remotely that's online that might wanna look at it. Go, and then it shows up right here, and then it's there. I can post, and then I can go back. I think that's pretty handy too, and that's a way to, you know, just to kind of put it out there and save it. And then, if I want to end this session, I'm gonna end the session. It says end session, and it's gonna publish my takeaways to the Google Classroom. I'm gonna go here, and then just end, right? There we go. And then you can close out. That's just, you don't have to do that, it's just an option.
Yeah.
But I just thought I would do it for those that maybe aren't here and they have access to see what our responses were. All right, do you have any questions, anything else?
It's pretty easy.
About Peer Deck,
It's
about how
easy.
you could use it? Do you think that it's gonna be something that was gonna be beneficial to you in your class?
Oh,
Yeah, it'll make it more interactive for sure.
Okay,
I think it's good to use it for notes especially.
yeah, because we have a lot of notes in social studies. Okay, great.